are.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
I guess it's afternoon for you already.
It is a little afternoon. Okay, let me do that.
Yeah, I almost forgot to send the link. I was kind of lost in thought here.
Here. Well, I don't understand why.
Oh my God, you got to see what happened, what I did.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it.
I'll show you my knee.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Look
So,
at that. No,
well,
I took Dixie outside. I think I told you at night I go with her
yeah.
with the flashlight. I mean, we've got the patio light on, but she likes to wander around, so I always take a flashlight. And she happened to flush a cat out of our wood pile. And so I'm taking the flashlight, follow her and the cat, and I started walking and walked right into we have this 5 foot long log. Our neighbor cut down a tree about 15 years ago, and we kept this 5 foot long piece of it. It's laying down, and we have it but in front of the fire. And I decided to just walk right into it. There's no reason I should have done that. It's been there for ages. And I just walked right into it and fell on top of it, and Dixie's having her little adventure. And I'm like, my God, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
And
I just turned the air conditioner on my end, just so you know what I know.
yeah, no, I didn't stub my toe because I had shoes on, but I stubbed it, and instead of, it hurting the nail, it like shoved my big toe back into my foot. And so the problem is the joint, where the toe meets the foot. And, at first, it hurt, but it was okay. And a couple hours went by, and I iced it, and it was better. And I laid down to go to sleep. I slept for about 2 hours, and I woke up in agony. Oh my gosh. And so I got the ice pack. I sat up, and I'm icing it down, just think, what's going on here? Why? I couldn't really think because I'm in the subconscious levels, I'm in and out. And I was up for 4 hours icing the thing, and I thought, well, let me read while I'm not in a crazy state, So I just read while I iced it and iced it and iced it and iced it, and had to get up and have a snack because by then I
You
was,
must have hit it so hard.
oh, it was terrible. And I think I'm trying to remember the sequence of events. I journaled it out, so I guess we could go over it then. What's up, baby?
Yeah.
Um, but by the end of the night, I had worked it out that I have another part. That's what she does. She trips me. She injures me to
Okay, which is interesting because that means she's still well, and that's okay, but I don't want to speak out prematurely, but that would mean she still either believes something or she.
something. Yeah, I haven't quite worked it out, but
Oh,
at first I thought her name was Klutz, because yeah, I'll get into that into the journals. I guess we'll just start
I
there.
did ask you a question. That's right. I kind of read through, so let's definitely go through it. But I
Oh,
wasn't
yeah, I
sure.
think you do have
Um,
that. Oh,
was
so
it was it Claire? The
yeah, Katie was the friend
okay.
of the psychic. They had that psychic connection, and that was, because I had sent, oh geez, I'm not
Yeah,
sharing.
let's take it from the top, just so I
I
can
had sent
recall. Because
Melissa
remember, you and a friend were trying to evade and
escape.
escape.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that Katie?
yes, yeah. And I realized that Melissa and I
Where
have
she
the
spit in
same,
his face?
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, his, yeah. I wanted to say no, Sister Mary John, but yeah, his face.
Yeah, he's a
So
Nazi
I had
guard.
sent Melissa those 2 emails apologizing. Hadn't heard from her for 3 days, and so my parts are starting to panic and oh my God, she's gonna cut us off now and all this. And I'm thinking, you know what? That's okay if she does, because we had already came to a resolution before the apology, and we were just owning our shit. And if that pushes her away, then, not really a friend. those were the parts of me that had been ostracized by friends in the past. And so I'm like, well, I know I've done the best I can, and if you can't accept that, then so be it, So I was fluctuating between these two, but there was just this deep, deep sadness. And I realized that it was Claire mourning Katie. I don't think she ever got to mourn Katie. So Katie's just gone in an instant, and that Claire's also furious, and my glands were flaring.
Well, that's right. It was Claire. Okay. Okay. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. It's just I'm so tired now, so tired. I'm afraid I lost Melissa or damaged something special that will never get fixed. I'm very anxious. Got to work on Ted. It's been like 10 days now. So Claire's pissed off that Eden ruined everything because Eden is the one that was with the mobster grandchildren being abused. And as she's being abused, she's remembering Katie and Claire and their wonderful friendship and watching these three bitches. So Eden hates women, even Eden hates women, hates girlfriends, just thinks that I don't think I was girlfriends with any of them, but it was the granddaughter. And I don't know if you read that journal entry, but she had two other girls with her, and they were egging the boys on to do
You
these
had
things,
mentioned, yeah,
to me. And so I just thought, well, if that's friendship, I don't want to have anything to do with women. And in my whole life, I've always ever been more comfortable with men than women, ironically, even though men abused me as well. But so there's this battle, not really a battle, but Eden's like, you know what? Fuck having girlfriends if, she's just kind of bitter and cynical about the whole thing. And Claire's like, well, no, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. And so Claire called Eden a bitch, because of that, which is what Eden was actually called. Her first name was Bitch, a rich girl, bitch girl. So I
yeah.
just thought that was funny. And then I said, I need to call you Vision. Your new name is Vision, not Claire anymore. So
I like
I remind myself of that and kind of pull her up into present time.
that. Good.
And I said, can you forgive Eden? I said, Eden has good reason not to trust women. You know that you were there with her, even if only for a moment. And she said, I agree with Eden, but not for the same reasons. I agree with Eden to not have friends because when they are taken away from you, it
Yeah.
hurts too much. So Eden blew everything up. How can we know if Melissa will forgive us? I said, only time will tell, but you have to admit that those things needed to be said. Perhaps not in that way. I think now that they have been said, that friendship can grow in an even more genuine manner. There won't be all these hidden things, as I've withheld a lot from Melissa. And I think it just all blew up then. I said, don't you think so? She said, I suppose, but I'm still pissed off and really sad. I said, we'll work on Ted tomorrow, okay? So Claire's also mad at Katie, girl that spit and then got killed. She said, why did Katie have to do that? It should have been Claire, not Katie. Katie was graceful and beautiful, and I'm just an ugly tomboy. It should have been me that was killed. So survivor's guilt. So
Yeah.
why did she do that? Why did she do that? I'm so mad at her that she left me. I took her away, meaning I was responsible, but I know that I'm not. I finally got a friend and now she's gone. I said the world, the ugly fucking world. I want my friend back. I want my friend back. Oh yeah. And so Claire, I think I may have told you this. So Claire just started beating up Jesus
Okay. That's a really important
and
thing.
did the stabbing with the pencils. I think I told you this, didn't I?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, because her tool, Claire did the psychic stuff. So her tool was a pencil and paper and writing down and communicating things.
Oh,
So
okay.
she took the pencil and just used the heads of Dad and Jack and Sister Mary John, Sarge, and just made a pincushion out of their heads with these she had two pencils. She was just beating the snot out of them.
Okay.
And then after that, then for some reason she took their feet and just ripped their feet off at the ankles, just twisted them off.
Good.
Why she
Good.
wanted their feet gone, I don't know. I think probably because they followed her. And then she stomped all three of their heads until they were nothing. And then she stomped their whole bodies. She took a breath and she sat with Jesus for a while. Katie came, the actual spirit of Katie came and hugged her with Jesus. She asked Jesus to take the bodies away, so Jesus did. And she spent just, some time with Katie and Jesus. And then she got mad again, so Jesus brought them back and she stomped on them some more, stabbed them some more with the pencil. And when she released that, then she wept with Jesus again. And she said she turned off seeing. She doesn't want to see anything anymore. The psychic stuff, all there is ugliness to see. And Jesus told her that's why he sent Katie, so she could see something beautiful. And that made her cry all over again. And she smashed them up some more.
There you go. There you
And
go.
then she came to me and said, Mama, can we go to sleep now? And I
Uh,
said, of course. So we're going to try and sleep now. And when she said mama to me, my heart just melted. I thought, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I want to be to them, is their mama.
ah,
If not, ultimately just co-conscious equal people. But I
wow.
just, when she said that, I just melted. I'm a little bit teary-eyed thinking of it right now. So
Okay, and that's what you've just said. That's such a key,
is
uh,
that she trusts me.
yeah, that's such a key breakthrough to be able to get to that point where you're able to, and I think that's what they were trying to do back in the 80s. Remember the inner child, taking care of your inner child, John Bradshaw.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That happened
That's
very
what I did
naturally.
back in the 90s. I read
There you
some of
go.
those books and they weren't ready to reveal themselves, but I
There you
was,
go. So
no, I'm
that
here to
shows you the
listen.
difference. The concept's great, but it has to come organically and from within. And so you've accomplished now through this work what was trying to be accomplished, um, from the outside in instead of from the inside out.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Holding a teddy bear in therapy isn't going to, I'm not minimizing it, right? But
No, I know that's what I do in my bed at night. I hold my
yeah,
pillow and imagine that it's them and they
right, there you
feel
go.
it and I feel them feel it and
Well,
it's
look at what
real.
now was accomplished because it really came organically from within.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's because she got to see all the other parts resolve their issues with
Okay, there we
me.
go. There we
And
go.
I think I told several of the parts, well, I'll be your mom now. And she sees me with the four, abortions and
Yep.
how I treat them. I'm their mama. So it just melted my heart. And then the next night, oh, this was the day before I stubbed my toe. So I spilled a full glass. Oh, and this was right after all this, stuff with that I just read to you. I'm laying down to go to sleep and I spill this whole glass of water on my nightstand. It pours into a drawer. So I got to
Oh,
run and go get a towel and,
yeah.
deal with all that. And then the next morning I spilled the half of that on the end table as I was sitting in the living room with Chris. I'm like, what the fuck am I, a klutz? What's happening again? And then that night I tripped into the log and hurt both knees and my right big toe. I had to ice it. It hurts pretty badly. So that was that for that night. And then the night that I stubbed my toe, where is it? The 23rd. Yeah. Um, as I'm sitting up, well, I was laying down to go to bed. Like I said, I fell asleep for a couple of hours. So I saw Connor, the commander, that last part that revealed, sitting at a desk in a t-shirt and blue jeans. He's got a whole bank of computers behind. He goes like this, looking at me,
Oh,
like you should know something, but he didn't
okay.
say anything.
Okay.
So, but
I like him.
I know. And then right before that, I saw a face that, one was ugly, one was normal. They were kind of these amorphous. His face was just morphing to three or four different things. I was like, what's that? So I fell asleep and then I wake up after 2 hours. So I've been asleep about 2 hours. My toe is swollen, incredibly painful. I sat and read for about 2 hours while I iced my foot, had a snack. I have a new part talking to me. So it took that to get this part, to talk
Okay,
to me.
there we go. That makes sense.
That her name is Klutz.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
I thought her name was. She doesn't like that name at all, she says.
No, that's right.
I'll
Yeah.
get her a new name as soon as possible. She is the one who hurts herself on purpose so that she does not have to perform certain tasks. She doesn't want to go out there and do those awful things. So she hurts herself. So if she hurts herself, she doesn't have to. So that happened the night I smashed my two small toes on the coffee table in the bedroom. She could not go out and kill like they wanted. She got out of it, so it worked. Do you remember I told you that? I got a call in the middle of the night. I forget what part it is. And I got to remember that right now here too. I was up here working at Best Buy. So that would have
Oh,
been,
you hadn't gone into specifics about.
well, I think I put it in the journal and maybe I didn't read it to you. I don't remember, but um I was amnesic. The only thing I remember was I got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and I smashed my little toe and the toe next to it so badly
Okay, now you did reference. You
that I
hadn't.
couldn't walk. And after that, I wonder if I just recorded it and didn't tell you. I kept thinking, well, if I was in the bathroom, which was over there, why was I coming from that side of the room to the point where I would have walked into the coffee table going to the bathroom? I would have slept on this side, but the closet was over there. So I must have gotten up and gone to the closet to get dressed and then walked to the bathroom and stubbed my toe. I was thinking about that the other day. I kept thinking, well, why was I over there if I was just getting up to go to the bathroom? And then I realized, oh, I got a call. I don't remember what the call said or did, but I got up. Maybe I went to the bathroom, but I went to get clothes, which is what made me take that pathway. And then I stubbed my toe on the table. Or I'm thinking about it right now. Logistically, it was my left foot, so I would have been on the way to the closet. And I never thought about that before. The logistics of it. Why would I be, if I just got to go to the bathroom and go back to sleep, why would I have been right there? Because the
Yeah.
table isn't in between there. And that's when I realized, oh, I got a call. And I don't remember what the call was, but I was assuming it was a call to go out and do a job. And so I got up, taken the call, gone to the bathroom, walked to the closet, and that's where I smashed my toe because I don't remember getting any clothes out and sitting down and being in so much pain. And then I made a call back.
Oh, you remember making a call.
I do. And I remember telling them, I can't go out. I just smashed my toe so badly, I can't walk. I mean, I even went to the chiropractor shortly after that, and she said, I can't touch your toe for 8 weeks because if it's broken, I'll aggravate it.
Oh gosh.
So I had to suffer with it for 8 weeks before she could start working on it and straighten it out. And over the years, that the bone, I don't know if it broke or what, but at some point it will drop and hurt again. And at some point it'll work its way back to normal and then not hurt. So, but yeah, I remembered calling back, and I don't know if I did star 69 or if I actually had a phone number. That's when we had the cordless phones, not
As you're
cell phones.
describing this, do you remember whether it was a male or a female on the other end of
The
the line?
male was a man, yeah. But yeah, and I remember they were annoyed, really annoyed. And like, how could you, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I can't do the job. Find someone else is what I kept saying. I can't do it. Find someone else.
And you have a sense that it was to go out and be an assassin.
I think so. What else would you do in the middle of the night? The
Yeah.
courier stuff happened during the day.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, what else are you doing in the middle of the night? I mean, that's just an assumption, but I can't, it feels pretty darn certain. So yeah, that happened. Then I smashed my toes, couldn't go out to kill like they wanted. So she got out of it. It worked. So, and I said, I was just explaining to her that even if she does that, and then another part is called up to do a job, that they will just push her down, trap her in the pain, and that other part is will go out and not feel any pain and do their job. But as they're doing their job, they're going to keep re-injuring that part of the body over and over because they don't feel it. I said, once they are done with their job, the front person and klutz has to feel that pain over and over and over. I said, so hurting yourself may have been a strategy in the past, but really all it does now is hurt the body and aggravate it more and imprison her in the pain all alone.
That's right.
I said, I'm asking her if she thinks that's fair to the other parts. She says that it's better if she doesn't have to go do another job. She actually gets out of going to do that. She gets out of doing that job. So she would rather take the pain and deal with doing that job because the job is worse on the heart and the mind than the pain that the body has to take. So she will take the body pain over the heart and mind pain. She sacrifices herself for the other parts. She hurts the body so that she does not ruin her soul. She would rather ruin the body than, oh, yeah, I said that twice. She would rather ruin her body than ruin her soul. She works with God. She does not want her soul stained anymore. So this has to be, I'm gobsmacked that a part could even know what the other parts are doing. It's still, and it's happened all through my life. I'm like, how can I not be, how are my parts not 1000% compartmentalized? There's always a leak somewhere, somehow,
Yeah. No, that's
which
right.
blows my mind. Yeah. So that is what her and God worked out at the apartment where I stubbed my toe. She called, oh, here it is. She called and told the handler she couldn't even walk. He would have to call someone else. They were pretty annoyed, but she got out of it. The other parts liked that. Some did not. Most of them agree if we hurt ourselves and we are unable to go perform, that's better. It stops the cycle. I think I was about 33 to 35 years old. I have to look on my employment record to see what those years were. I was at Best Buy. She likes the name Imogene, correct? And then she said, no, correction, that is her name. Imogene is close to injury.
Yeah.
Injury, Imogene. So we need to think of a new name. And then Ginger just popped into mind. She said, I remember when I first met Chris, I became a klutz. I did. And it really blew my mind. I'm like, why am I such a klutz now? But really, it was Imogene coming out and hurting herself so that she wouldn't have to be his sex slave. Again, she knows those parts. Diana changed things and differentiated between Chris and Dad. I did that for years, and she wasn't so klutzy anymore. And I said, everybody welcome Ginger to Lake City. She's going to need some help getting around because her foot is injured pretty badly right now. Everybody says they're happy to do whatever you need. Ginger says, thanks to all of you. Finn, the part that was going to go out and do the job, the stub toe or, the two little toes, Finn really likes her a lot because he didn't have to go do a job that night. He just gave her a big hug. She told Finn that it was God's idea. She was just the one to do it. So, and then Janet and Skylar saw people being injured at training camp and they still had to go do their work. They had to swallow the pain. So right now I'm wondering if this was a part created, if Imogene was created right then. As they swallowed the pain, that part took it. Because that's what I was lost in thought about before he came out. I was like, when was she really created? You know what I mean? So it had to have been here. Let me write this down. I thought maybe it was in Germany, but no. In Germany, remember I told you after Himmler's castle, I tripped and scraped my knee then?
Mhm.
Almost the exact same spot as this time. But that would mean the part would have had to already exist to do that. So maybe I was
Okay, and
trying,
so that, yeah,
yeah,
that's interesting. Maybe she'll connect, maybe she has some memories she hasn't disclosed,
yeah,
or
yeah. But I'm thinking right now as I'm rereading this, I think she was created for Janet and Skylar, one or the other, split off to deal with the pain.
yep,
And yeah, and Skylar with the injury, whatever injury it was, and Skylar would still go out and do the obstacle courses and all the training. She didn't feel it because Imogene was swallowing the pain.
there you go.
I
There you go.
think that's it. I think that's when she was born. She's going, yeah, you just figured it out. I was in so much pain that night, I couldn't think super clearly. I mean, contrary to this, but yeah. It was only after training camp and the army that wasn't true anymore. I don't know what that means. They had to swallow the pain. Imogene didn't like having to go to work with injuries, but at least she didn't have to go out on assassination. She was resigned to transfer notes back and forth for the cult, but no more killing, meaning she didn't mind being a courier.
Yeah.
Fine, that's just moving paper back and forth. If I've got to be your little lackey, fine. But my soul is, I don't want any more killing. I think
And therein lies the inherent difference between those that
perpetrator and a
there we go.
victim.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
And I'll tell you, I watched one of your shows again, and you were talking about that's the difference between the perpetrators in prison that are but in the high maximum security all alone, and the ones in general population that want to kill them.
That's right.
I thought that makes sense because they were injured by those type of people, and
There you
that's
go.
why they want to kill them. I get
That's it.
that.
Yep. No, that's
Yeah.
that's right.
And I said, well, it worked. Thank you. She says, on Gilligan's Island, it was Gilligan who was the klutz. I think this is where she got the idea.
Okay.
Ginger was graceful. Ginger took her time and did not hurt herself. The others even did stuff for her. So she likes the name Ginger.
I got you.
So I gotta look up those years. That's about the same time period because Skylar was about 7 or 8, and maybe Gilligan's Island is on the TV right then.
Okay.
And that's where the idea for the part came from. But like I said again, I'm just blown away that a part would be so in tune with the other ones, I guess, because like you said, the parts on the lowest levels know what's going on above. It's the ones above that do not know what's going on below. So she must have been a really deeper part to be able to know what's going on above her. I just realized, okay. So I said the warrior parts are glad you stopped all that. Those were all I used to call them the killers. I now call them the warriors. She feels really accepted. They are all shaking her hand, patting her on the back, and giving her hugs. She's content. She just wants the pain in Diana's foot to stop now. My foot, because I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? I'm happy to take the pain for you. You just rest. I can take it now. And I was telling all the parts, as I have
Ah,
repeatedly, this is nothing compared to what you went through. And you did that for me. So I am now, right now, willing to do this for you. Go sleepless, be in pain, be a basket case, bounce off the walls. I'll do that for you. And so that's what I was saying the same thing to her. I'll take the pain, you rest. You don't have to swallow it. You don't have to hold it. I've got it. I got an ice pack on it. I'll deal with it. And she was like, really? And I go,
and
yes.
that's a key moment of, using the analogy of moving the ball down the field. You crossed into that new area close to the goal. That really is phenomenal.
Oh, well, yeah, I just knew. I like I said, I've told all of them that, even though the ego part of me said, I want to go to sleep. I'm tired of this. I'm tired. Thank God I don't have to work. And I'm like, well, even if we only get 2 hours sleep, we can still take a nap in the afternoon. And the irony is this, John, by the time, that next day rolls around and I do a TED Talk, I'm fully rested and I don't need a nap.
Really?
It's bizarre. Yeah. I'm always thinking, why don't I need a nap when I should need one? Yesterday I took a little bit of one, but maybe half hour, not much. Anyway, she says, and when I said that, I'll take the pain, she's like, really? And I said, yes, just very definitively. It's mine now. I'll take it. I'll carry it. She stands up out of her herself. My foot's all better. My foot's all better. Look, everyone, I can
Oh,
run and
oh,
jump. And she's just like having a good time. She said, Diana's got it now. And I said,
oh,
indeed, I love you, Ginger. I love all of you. I've got all of it now. And then there was a little bit of time. I think I may have read a little bit. I don't know. I was hearing Love Shack in my head because everybody was excited and having a good time, and there was love going around the city, and everybody, we're all at the lake having a good time. And so Eden is having lots of body memories right now, and the Love Shack's going through my head again too. Lake City is real love, or people really love each other. But when she thinks about that, she just feels the pain. Diana is having lots of muscle spasms in the vaginal area and the legs. I mean,
yeah,
they were starting to spasm. I said, Eden, I don't think you should call Lake City the Love Shack.
yeah,
Why don't you just call Lake City where there is love? I said, that way you won't be confused. I know you always wanted the real Love Shack. I said, now you have it. You just have to find a different name for it.
good,
And
good.
I said, how about the
Oh,
land of love? Or I think she said that. How about the land of love? And I said, perfect.
right. That's like that company, Land O'Lakes. Yeah,
Oh, right. Maybe that's where that came from. Because
Land
I
of
think
Love.
in Wisconsin, I think that's where that butter, Land of Lakes butter
Yeah,
comes
yeah.
from. And I grew up in Wisconsin. So
Oh,
that,
there we go.
and it's a perfect, and then, so this is over a 4 hour span of time. And so I finally lay down, go back to sleep at like 4 a.m., 4:30, something like that. And Chris woke me up. It must have been maybe 6:30, 7 o'clock. And he gave me a kiss because I was still sleeping. I woke up and I went, oh, is it morning? He goes, I gotta go. He was fully dressed and ready to go. John, he never comes and gives me a kiss goodbye, but he did that morning. And I was like, oh, great, thanks. Have a good day. And I went back to sleep till about 9 o'clock. And I woke up just feeling really awesome because my husband came and gave me a kiss goodbye. Because I'm the one that always kisses him goodbye. But this
Yeah.
time, I think he felt me up with the pain. He knew I had hurt my foot and I was in a lot of pain. I had to get up 2 or 3 times to switch out the ice packs.
Oh,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so, yeah, I think he was just really sweet. When he came home last night, I told him, I said, I said, that was really sweet. You came and gave me a kiss goodbye. I said, it really touched me. And he goes, oh, he's brushing it off. I said, no, it didn't go unnoticed. Thank you. It was very sweet. He just kind of sweetly brushed it off. He got a little embarrassed, I think. So,
That's cute.
yeah. So yesterday I spent the day icing it. And then one of my parts is like, go take a bath, go take a bath, just chill out, go take a bath. And I was worried that putting heat on it might aggravate the injury if it's not at the right time. But I went and took a bath anyway. And I put my foot in, and it was the perfect timing. It alleviated the pain. So I spent the rest of the day like, I'd ice it, and then after an hour, I'd put a heat pack on it. After an hour, I'd ice. So all day back and forth. And today I'd say it's uh at a 85% healed in one
Wow.
day, 24 hours. I
Feels that
thought I'd
way.
be limping for the next 2 months. And I forgot something else too, after I cleaned up the water and finally laid down, go to sleep with Imogene and Eden. Um, I remember saying prayers. I said, Dear Lord Jesus, I pray that you could make this heal quickly and easily. I said, I don't know if I deserve it or not. I think I do. I've worked really hard, and I'm just asking if you could heal this quickly and easily. And, I think that was the inspiration for the heat and the cold and the heat and the cold, which I had learned about from my chiropractor anyway. But it's like he reminded my parts and reminded me, heat it, cool it, heat it, cool it. And it's so much better today. I'm blown away. Okay, and then this is last night, and the end of it is this morning, right before you called. Dixie, let me feed her because she's annoying
Oh
me.
yeah, no, you do that. You do that.
All right, little
For
one.
sure. Oh, by the way, Susan's in love with your dog.
I know. I'm in love with Sebastian. I've always wanted the tiger striped kitty.
Oh, Sebastian's a handful.
Beautiful.
Every animal has a unique personality, and Sebastian has a very funny one.
Yeah. Well, Dixie melts everybody's hearts. I
Yeah.
mean, she's been in what, 3 different states, and she's done a little traveling in her life, and everyone just falls in love with her. I don't know if I ever told you, but we were in Oregon and I was at Walmart during COVID. It was before the mask madness, and we were at the checkout aisle, the self-checkout, little cube where you have two over here and two over here. And I was at the one near the door, and the lady next to me, I'm checking out, and I think I was at the point of paying, and she goes, "Do you mind?" She was finishing up. "Do you mind if I pet your dog?" I said, "Oh no, she's very friendly, very happy." And I turn around to finish up my stuff and pay. And as I turned around, she was in tears. And she says, "Thank you." She said, "You don't know what this has meant to me." She said, "This just made my whole month." And I didn't pry. I said, "Well, love her as much as you want to. That's, and she just gave Dixie some more hugs and kisses and went on her way. And Dixie just has this way about her. And Chris calls Dixie his service dog. He even got her a vest that has, service dog tags that you can take on and off.
Yeah.
He says, "She keeps me from choking you out," is what she does. That's what he'll tell people. "She keeps me from choking you out." Like, okay, the door's open, so she's fine. So yeah. So only one time in her entire life we've had her, she's 7 now, and she came to us when she was about 2. I thought she was a puppy till I took her to the vet. He's like, "Oh no, she's like 2."
Uh,
One time, again at a Walmart when I was up in Oregon, we're in the aisle shopping, and I've got her in the, where you put your purse, the child seat. And I happened to be turned getting something off the shelf, and Dixie growled. First time I've ever heard, only time I've ever heard her growl. And I turned around. As I turned around, there was a man just going around the corner. And she like sensed something in it. I remember I said to myself, "Remember
yeah.
that, Diana, because animals know." So I wonder, if it was just some random guy with a, bad spirit going by, or if it was someone following me or checking on me. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Uh,
yeah, she's my little god dog. Not a guard dog, but she's my god dog.
I like that.
Okay, so last night, oh, that's right. Yeah, this was um so Connor is telling me that after stars programming, now that was the new age lady with the astral projection stuff and the whole mobster woman story. That after stars programming, she didn't do all the proper commands. She left a few doorways open, and that is how the parts were able to talk to each other in certain situations. It's also how Imogene was able to be created because the parts could talk to each other and also leaked things to the conscious mind. But I'm just sitting here thinking now, the timing's not right because Imogene was created at like 7 and Star would have been at like 28 years old. So I wonder if Jack or Dad left a doorway open. Because I remember as I was typing it going, was it Star or somebody else? So it may have been Jack or Dad. Probably more likely Dad, because he's doing it in the basement with a big ego. So, but could have been any one of them. If it was Dad, because Dad came before Jack. I don't know whose programming was first. I think it was Dad's. And Jack never caught it and Star never caught it. Maybe that's why there was bleed through all those years. That Dad didn't put the right whatever in there to keep things compartmentalized. Because as I think about it, my parts have always been able to not everybody didn't know everybody, but they certainly knew a few.
Yeah.
And worked together. So I don't know. Or maybe that was programmed in because Wolf, who's now Winnie, worked with Claire and with Trip and somebody else running through that forest. They worked together.
That's right.
And that's at 7 years old. So some part of the programming must not have been done properly or just didn't work in my brain. I don't know.
Or I think here's my own hunch. They can only do so much. The perps can only do so much. Then the human
Right.
spirit takes over. It ultimately you were stronger than they knew. You were stronger than them. And
Well,
so you
that
guys can,
crossed my mind too, but I thought, was that my ego getting involved
no,
here,
no,
thinking I'm
that
some special
that you guys were
whatever?
still so they could try to make you, but they didn't break you. So you guys were
Yeah.
still operating as a team.
Well, and I also think about when they put in the mind files, which was like around 7 or 8, the same time period that as I listen to Gray's, the recording of that woman talking, she says now, she said, create your mind files. So my mind created the compartmentalization.
Yeah.
So my mind left open doors,
Mhm.
right? So maybe it wasn't Jack, Dad, or Star. Maybe it was me. Because what it did was it took the scientific programming and overrode the cult programming.
Yeah.
It melded and overrode, and I don't know if override is
And,
the right
and
word, but
see if this has maybe a proper feel to it. It's like, the well, the old-fashioned Gilligan's Island, right? Hogan's Heroes, but the idea of a POW camp. They're still dutiful, but meanwhile, they're still tunneling.
right, yeah. So maybe it is just the human spirit shining through.
And they tried to, and so they come in and inspect the barracks, they do it, but meanwhile, there's
Everything's
still
going on
there's
underneath
still
the
a group, a
surface.
core that are
I
still
never,
maintaining hope.
I never thought about that. Yeah. I guess I just assume I'm realizing that right now that I have this notion that they were all powerful and what they did had was perfect and whatever. And I kept wondering, well, then how are these parts talking to each other all
Yeah.
those years ago? If
They
they're
were the ones
compartmentalized,
tunneling.
must have been.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess maybe that's a part of God's gift to us then.
that's
So,
right. They couldn't get to you completely.
wow, I never put it in those terms. So thank you for that. Gives even all the more power and glory to the Lord. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's awesome. Um, I said, but she left a few doorways open, and that is how the parts were able to talk to each other in certain situations. It's also how Imogene was able to be created because the parts could talk to each other and also leaked things to the conscious mind.
I mean, and think about, I'm sorry for interrupting. Think about what happens in a POW situation, the Hanoi Hilton. They were still able to communicate with each other.
I don't remember the Hanoi Hilton. Was that the movie from?
No, that was one of the prisoner of war camps in Vietnam, the North Vietnamese. And so there's stories how the prisoners would do Morse code or different things on the cinder block walls. And they came up with different ways of still communicating with each other.
Oh, even though they're still so suppressed
That's right.
and oppressed, I should say.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Wow. So I said, well, thanks for letting me know that, Connor. I think that's what the date night before he's looking at me going, right? I said I was wondering how my parts could talk to each other. It's supposed to be separate and distinct from each other, but for me, that was not the case, even as a very young child. But what you're talking about was in my mid-30s. Connor says that my mind retained access in certain ways because of the mind files that were used then, this is where I was thinking about the scientific programming overriding the cult programming, because I was allowed to organize it in the way I chose within the Lilly structure that allowed my mind to have certain access and certain knowledge of how things were stored. And because of that, I could move around within it. And I said, wow, thanks. So, and now this was this morning trying to figure this out. I said, I also remember when doing the purification rundown in Scientology in Hollywood. Now, this is a program you sit in the sauna for 45 hours a day, every day for 6 or 8 weeks, and you sweat the toxins out of your body all the while you're taking in vitamins and minerals and niacin and all this stuff. And I started the Purif with the IQ of 112 and I came out with 127. So it did something for me. It purges drugs out of your body. It works, but it draws in non-Scientologists, gives them this success and this win, and then they try to turn them into Scientologists. So that's
Oh, yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
the ugly part of it. Anyway, I went on a hike, because we would have we'd have Sunday afternoon off. That was it all week. On a rare occasion to not be working on staff, it was a Sunday afternoon. It was in the hills by Griffith Park. Me and another girl, I can't think of who it was, were walking on a path downhill and I tripped, dirt path. I landed on my knee and ripped my pants open, had a 3-inch diameter round laceration on the front of my knee. Because I was in the sauna so much for the Purif, it healed very quickly with barely a scar. And John, it's almost in the exact identical spot as this one. That one's right there. The one from the Purif was right here. It was huge. It was huge. And so I kept thinking, well, okay, Imogene, where were you born? That's what I was trying to figure out, because it's the exact same injury. I'm just now having a vague recollection of something she said. I wonder if it was a signal or command, and I did that to sabotage it. I also kept thinking it
Diane,
might have.
let me,
Sure.
Griffith Park. Do you know why you were there?
I don't actually. That crossed my mind as I was writing this. I thought, well, why were they? I thought, well, we were taking a hike, and that's where we chose to take a hike.
Okay, which, yeah, could be. Let me,
But I didn't have a car. I didn't drive us there, so
because there is another survivor that I've been working with whose
as Griffith Park area.
grandfather was the head poobah of the Masons in the LA Mason. And he had a house on top of the observatory
On top of it.
so she remembers a back gate, go out the back, so it's on the crest of the hill,
Yeah.
and you go out a little gate, and the path leads you to the observatory. which is on the same property then as the Getty Museum.
Well, the Getty and Griffith Park are too far apart to for
Or
the.
are they separate? Am I, that's not, okay, but
Well,
she's
I don't
right.
know. I'd have to look on a map
So she was
unless there
right
was
next to
tunnel system.
Griffith Park Observatory. I thought they were close. Maybe I'm getting, but anyways, the Griffith Park Observatory, apparently something was going on there.
Well, I don't doubt that. I mean, I was there 3 or 4 times, but for some reason on that particular day, I wonder if maybe we were going to look at the Hollywood sign
So
because
I
if
thought, you know
that's,
what? I'll have to go back and look at but
well,
anyway, so
let's
we
look
got
at the
the,
map. Yeah, that's not a big
okay.
deal.
So the Griffith Park Observatory, the house that her grandfather had, the trail, but I had thought it was on the same property as the Getty. So maybe I'm confused with that, but I do remember
Well, they're both G's, so
she
you know,
she walked right out and saw the observatory.
yeah, the Griffith Park has an observatory and a whole like place you can, yeah, see the
Where's
Getty.
the Getty? Where's the Getty
The
Museum?
Getty is off the 405, so I gotta find it.
Oh, okay,
The
never mind. You know
101,
what?
the 405, the Getty's way over here.
Okay, okay. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, let
That
me
brings
just
back,
double check.
I spent 20 years, obviously,
Getty, oops. I'm thinking, am I wrong? Yeah, Los Angeles, because I've
no.
gone to the Getty like 4 times
Okay,
myself.
okay. Then you know what? Never mind with that. Okay.
Yeah, so there's
My
Griffith.
geography is wrong with that.
And yeah, and see, there's the observatory right there. And we were hiking just off in this area here, because I think the Hollywood sign is somewhere over there.
So there's some houses somewhere. I wonder where there's some
This is
houses.
almost the highest point,
Yeah.
or it is. So their houses, let's see what's behind it, because it's a park. But yeah, there's houses, but they're not that close to the get to Griffith.
Okay, then never mind.
Well, but see, these houses back in here. It could have been the one that backed up into the Griffith Park area.
Was
The
there
Getty.
a phallic, what's the little right there?
Oh yeah, an obelisk. Yeah.
Was there an obelisk right there?
Yeah, wait until it goes around. See it? It's not really an obelisk, but it's similar. It's round. It's some sort of, it's an what do they call it? An asteroid pole or something.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, okay.
See it? It's round instead of square.
So I wonder how many ceremonies have been held up there, huh?
Oh, I'm sure hundreds. It gives you a little bit of a creepy vibe up there. Like
Yeah.
I said, I've been
Okay.
there maybe 4 or 5 times,
Oh,
just
you
looking
have.
at it.
Okay.
Went through the museum. Um, yeah, there's a vibe that's not, you know how you feel in a forest or a park where it's very serene and comfortable. You don't get that vibe here. You get a different vibe. I don't know if I'd call it satanic, but I would not doubt that stuff goes on here. I mean, look, it overlooks the city,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Hollywood's just right there. But yeah, I wonder if
But
the
the Getty's
Getty,
over there. Okay.
and the Getty,
Okay.
I've been there like 4 or 5
Oh,
times.
have you really?
Why? I mean, because I just
Now,
thought,
is the Getty next to the zoo?
mm, no, I don't think so. Let's see. Let's put
I
in
thought one of them
zoo.
was next to the LA Zoo.
Where's the zoo? Oh, yeah, the zoo's by Griffith Park. The old Los Angeles
Okay.
Zoo, that's right.
Oh, there's a new one.
And the Getty's way over here.
Okay, that's right. Because I remember then taking Nicole when she was younger to the zoo.
Yeah.
And as you're driving, so it says observatory to the left, zoo to the right. There's at some point in time.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
I
that's what
remember the highway signs too. So
I got you. I got you.
I'm sure there might be tunnel
I thought we
systems
were over on the
here.
405 going up there, but it was the five.
Yeah. Yeah. It's quite a distance,
Yeah, yeah.
especially in Los Angeles. So
Okay.
Anyway, so we're in the hills by Griffith Park. So it healed quickly. I'm just now having a vague recollection of something she said. I wonder if it was a signal or command, and I did that to sabotage it. I also keep thinking it might have been that Israeli woman, perhaps a handler, because after I was there for a little while, we were in have you ever seen Scientology, the Celebrity Center? I should show you that.
I have not.
Hopefully they'll have a picture of it. Scientology Celebrity Center.
So in the building itself, are there living account? Oh gosh, they're
Yeah,
big.
it's an old hotel that they bought.
Yes, it is.
Um,
Oh
and
my gosh.
do you see this layer, the sixth floor? There's I wish you could see around it. Maybe I'll just
How was I never aware of this building?
yeah, well, we stayed in a hotel in Hollywood by the on almost on Hollywood Boulevard, like 2 or 3 blocks south, and we'd walk to the Celebrity Center, take about 20-minute walk. And it was a dump. It was an old hotel too that they bought over. It was a dump. But this one is where the celebrities would come and go and get their services. And I was on staff in Dallas, and they sent me here for higher
Oh,
level
there's
training.
two separate locations in LA for Scientology.
Oh yes, you don't know about the big blue building either, huh?
Okay, yeah, I've never seen any of these. I mean, I've seen a picture of the front of the building, but all the time I was there, I never.
Yeah, let's see, Sunset Boulevard. This is what they call the big blue building. This huge building right here.
Oh my
This is
God.
the front of it.
Okay,
Look
that's
at
the
it.
picture I've seen. But again, I'm.
Yeah, and this part right here
Oh,
is this, right? And the new people come in here for services, but you have staff that live in here and
oh,
some higher level services as
they
well.
even have a cross on top of the thing.
Yeah, do you know what Scientology cross looks like? It's
No,
let me see if I can, well, let me shorten that up there.
they have a cross in Scientology?
Oh, yes.
Wow, that's even more diabolical.
But wait till you see the other.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They
See,
took it to the
it's
next
an
level.
8-pointed star cross. If you think about it, it's 8 points. The
Wow.
8-pointed Scientology cross. And
Wow.
then
I've
you've
never
got
seen that before.
yeah. And then you've got the let me see, Scientology. I forget what they call it, the triangles,
Wow. Okay.
images.
Can you imagine taking the cross and doing stuff to it?
This is the Scientology logo.
Looks like a
It's got
serpent. That's what that
two
does.
triangles with a serpent woven through. But
Yeah.
it's an S, John. It's not a snake, it's an S.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah. Don't believe what's in front of your eyes.
Yeah, yeah. And these triangles have different meanings. The ARC, which is arc, affinity, reality, and communication. And I forget what the second one is for.
Ah,
Yeah, it's like this whole bullshit theology,
yeah.
wrapped up in pagan symbolism.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay. Thank you for.
so but in the I was in the Purif for 8 months. It should only be 8 weeks. I was in there 8 months. I had skipped a step, and I think there was a part of me that did that on purpose because I got to relax in there. I could read, I could do whatever I want for 5 hours a day rather than being a slave, scrubbing floors and emptying trash cans.
Oh,
So I think parts of me skipped a step on purpose so that I could stay in there. But there came a point after about, I think it was 7.5 months, I started to kind of break down. And that's when I realized, oh, okay, I missed a step. We took me back to the step and I finished out. But I think this was the point. The latter part of that is when an Israeli woman came and stayed in the same room as us. Remember I said there was like 9 girls in a room with bunk beds 4 high, or was it 3 high? And we were on like the 6th floor. And I remember I was on the, I think, 2nd or 3rd bunk high. And we had an earthquake, and our bed was right against a plate glass window.
Oh my gosh.
And I remember waking up and watching the bed in the building sway, looking at this window going, holy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it only lasted maybe a minute, but it still was very unnerving. It's
Yeah.
like, I gotta
I
get
know. Let me
out of
ask you,
here.
when you say that you missed a step, so in Scientology there are steps?
Well, in the purification rundown, you start off with this low level of niacin, accompanied with the, appropriate vitamins and minerals that you're going to be sweating out while you're in there. You've got to replace it, otherwise you'll become sick.
Now, do they have a doctor overseeing people's health when they're doing this?
No, they have what they call case supervisors, and they have some sort of kind of nutritional training for the
Okay, I
job.
got you. I got you.
And anyway, so you start off with 100 milligrams of niacin with the accompanying amount of other stuff. And you go in there and you sweat it out, and you journal while you're in there. And you'll have, when you have an aha moment, you move up to the 200 milligrams, and you keep
Oh,
moving up.
of niacin?
Yeah, yeah, because the niacin is what flushes. Their theory is the niacin is what flushes the drugs out of your body through your sweat. And you also ingest oil, like olive oil, except they use, I forget what kind of oil it is, because their theory is that the drugs are trapped in the fat cells in the body,
Yeah.
and the niacin causes it to flush, and it makes the fat start sweating out of you, and the drugs leave with the fat. So you
Oh,
have to
okay.
constantly replace the fat. And I was training to be one of these case supervisors, right? So I learned a lot about. Anyway, when I got to the 600 milligram level, I
Oh.
thought I had my aha moment and moved on, and got all the way up to, I forget what the top level is, like 2,500 milligrams of niacin or something.
I wonder what that does to the body. Is that even safe? I don't
Well,
know.
it was for me, it was for
Okay.
these hundreds
Okay.
and hundreds of
Sorry, I'm
people that went
fixated
through
on
it.
this. Okay.
Well, as
Wow.
long as you have they increase the vitamin dosages
I
at the same
gotcha.
time they increase the niacin dosages. It's
I
like a
got
whole package. Um, but if you get to the max limit and you're still not at what they call the EP, the end phenomena, where you have a win, this whatever. Um, they sit you down and figure out, well, where do you think you may have missed? And my parts told them that's 600 milligrams. They knew. So they sent me back to the 600 level. And after about 2 or 3 days, I was done. I finished. But I look back on it now and I think that was a part sabotaging
yeah. Yeah.
so that I could stay in there for half a day every day, all these months and weeks. And because otherwise I was in class half a day and the Purif half of the day. But if I wasn't in the Purif, I would have been scrubbing floors and doing all sorts of, menial shit.
So
And
do they require people to, I mean, you obviously don't have a career or a job then if somebody's doing this.
no, you're full time. You're living off the seat of your pants.
So
I
when
lived
so when
off my
somebody joins Scientology, is this the path to do this? You have to
You
go,
have to do, everybody has to go through the Purif. Yeah, it's one of the lower level
people quit their
things.
jobs?
I did. That's why I told them, I said, if you want me to join staff when I was in Dallas, I said, the only way this will work is if you provide me housing and food. I said, because I can't do this. I can't count how many staff members lived in, Scientologists who were wealthy, who happened to have a second home or a little cottage home or a little shack here, a little apartment there tucked away that was empty, and Scientologists would live there by their grace because you don't earn any money. I remember I made like, I think $28 a week was the highest I made. And I was always constantly stressed out because I needed to pay my credit card bill. I need to pay my credit card bill. And on top of that, they want me to max out my credit card bill to buy shit. Their
Like
books
what?
and their lectures and their books
Oh
and
my
lectures.
gosh.
Because when you're on staff, you get the services for free, which is why I joined staff. I said, but they wanted me to buy these lecture kits, that are $1,200 a pop or 3 grand a
Oh,
pop,
okay. See, I didn't know any
and
of
I'm
this.
like, I'm not, or buy a lifetime membership to
Oh,
the International Association of Scientologists, which is $2,500, and they will hassle you and hassle you and hassle you
oh, this is
until
like
you just do it
multi-level
to,
marketing stuff.
yeah,
Okay.
until you just do it to shut them up. But the minute you do it, they're on to the next thing. Well, you bought that. Now you need to get this.
Is that right?
But you're never let to rest. You're never
Wow.
left alone,
I
ever.
got you.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay. Sorry about
So
that.
anyway, I
That's
I think they may have sent this Israeli woman in there because I thought that she was a really nice lady. We were about the same age. We were in our 30s. She had curly hair. We chatted for a while. She went on her way, I went on mine, but for some reason we're hiking in the hills of Griffith Park. I mean, if that's the I'm pretty sure that was her. So maybe she was a handler trying to see if, or whatever. I don't know. And this also makes me think of the time I tripped outside the barracks in Germany after Himmler's castle. I said, was that Imogene too? She says, yes, I injured you then to stop a job too. And I said, wow, okay, thank you. I've got to change it on all the paperwork now because it changes the timeline. I said, then it could not have been Star that left that opening. It would have been too late on the timeline. I said, Connor, any thoughts? And he sent me to this memory, and well, no, he didn't send me there. I didn't have any more thoughts from him, but it was that, I found the journal entry of tripping in Germany and just copied it and pasted it here. So I wouldn't forget that. But as you and I are talking, I'm realizing I think it was created when Skylar got injured at the training camp. I'm pretty sure that this part that was told to swallow the pain and stuff it down, and you're going to work anyway, even though you have a sprained ankle or a sprained wrist, whatever. And I think along the way, she figured out, oh, I can injure myself and get out of doing stuff. It didn't work then. She just had to take the pain, but, or no, she would have been the one that twisted the ankle or hurt the. So I don't know. We'll have to dig into that. So those are the journal entries. But yeah, I didn't think we'd be going to the Scientology stuff.
I figure I've got a resident expert. I might as well ask.
Oh
So
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not even an expert. I was just a low level grunt. But here is the image I picked for Imogene. And then the new picture, because here's what happened too, was after Melissa and I had our thing and I had to go and do the work outside. I told you, I think I was schlepping compost back and forth. I did like 16 wheelbarrows full. You got to mix the amendments and mix the water and then move it over and shovel it into the bed. Well, for 2 days, my abdomen was really hurting badly. And I thought, was this a body memory from a part? And I realized, no, it was from lifting, six
oh,
60-pound bags of compost. Mine are in bags with handles, so I had to lift it straight up. I wish it would have been like this. But
yeah,
I
yeah,
realized it
no.
was because I haven't been doing my sit-ups or riding my bike for 3 or 4 months. And so my abs are not as strong as they used to be. And so anyway, so she wanted her new purpose to be, and I left it blank. I said, well, you don't have to pick anything right now. You're brand new. Take your time.
Yeah.
And she's like, when I wrote this out for the old part, she injured herself badly enough not to be able to do duties, or I should put jobs, I don't know. I'll put, well, whatever. She said, well, I don't want you to be injured anymore because I want my purpose to be strong and fit so that we can fulfill our purpose for God, to do God's purpose.
There we go.
And I was like, well, that's a great purpose. We can certainly put that on there. So, but I'm thinking that she was created more around 6 or 7 years old. But the funny thing is when I placed her in the timeline and was looking at my graphs, I realized that I had about, what is it, about 6 parts. It made me have to flesh out and clear up ages of parts in their 30s. So as I'm thinking Imogene or Ginger is in this time range, it made me, the other parts were starting clearing up. No, I'm not, I'm younger than her and she's older than me. And so I had to really figure out ages, and it cleared up my 30s. So I'm thinking that's awesome that she said that to begin with, even though now I've got to move her into the younger age range. But by her placing me there, it was like her saying, I'm going to tell you this so that you can straighten out all this shit first. And then when you're talking to John, we'll figure it out. You'll realize I'm younger. But if she hadn't done it that way, I would have never sorted out my 30s. So it's fascinating how they all interact with each other now that they're not in cages. They all live and can mingle together. And one whispers in the ear of another that, or maybe it's not even whispers, I don't know. But yeah, it cleared up. Where is it? Parts. Yeah, the graph. Certain people in my 30s, that's what the blue graph. These guys got kind of rearranged a little bit. This whole range right here just shifted.
It's a phenomenal concept, Diana.
Am I sharing? No, I wasn't sharing.
Oh, okay. No, it's causing me to rethink. Yeah, the idea of the Manchurian Candidate, that, the film, and obviously that's what they're after. I don't believe you can do it with adults, but they knew that if you get them early, if you get a child early and you start this process.
Yeah, because yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So it's incredible to think that as we got adults out there that can be accessed.
I know.
And have the stupid access van drive around.
Right?
How
I saw
blatant
him
is
again
that?
this morning. Every day. It's on our block. Every day.
I wonder if you were to follow it, or would it
Oh,
go?
oh, maybe I should. But see, I don't, it's not the exact same van that came to the door for me
Okay.
at 2, 3, 4 in the
Oh,
morning. The van that came for me didn't have windows and doors like that. It
so
was
I
more
had,
of a van that was maybe 2/3 the length of that one. Instead of 4
wouldn't
windows
that be
deep, it
sneaky?
was.
They create their own van. They call it access. And now they're driving around at 4 a.m.
I know. I'm like, because this one always shows up around 7 or 8 in the morning and picks up this woman in a wheelchair, and
I bet
they
they
do what
painted
they
the van
do.
the same color.
And it had access on it.
Right? It's not against a lot of copies.
Why not have the name of your company on there? That's ridiculous. I guess the name of the company is Access.
Yeah.
But that could be their midnight shift does programming and evil deeds, and then their daytime cover is, oh, We're medical assistants.
Oh, okay, it's
Thing.
medical. Takes them to the medical facility.
Yeah, because uh, isn't that the whole cover of the Shriners and the Masons is they've got the cover in the front. We do all this charity work and we help hospitals and we do good deeds, but at midnight you're having satanic masses. So I'm thinking this company might operate the same way. During the day, they're doing good deeds, helping shuttle medical patients around, but in the middle of the night, they're picking people up for jobs.
You wonder if they're a national company.
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
So that was my few days. Oh, and Melissa finally called.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
kind of came to a resolution after I injured my foot. Well, if she blows this off because in the letter I told her, I said, I inadvertently led you into a trap. It wasn't malicious or whatever, but when I think about it, that's what it was. I agreed your confidence to get you to talk, and you talk and I blow up at you. It was a trap. And I didn't hear from her for 3 or 4 days, nothing. And I thought, well, she's either pissed off and chewing on it or whatever. And finally, after 3 or 4 days, she said, well, I haven't gotten to my emails yet. I'd sent her a text saying, I sent you some emails because I was anxious about it and just nothing. So I thought either she was bullshitting me and she was chewing on it, or
Yeah, which is brilliant.
she just didn't get to her emails. It's hard for me to believe that you didn't get to your emails. You'll answer every whack job out there, but
Mhm.
not look at mine. I don't know, but I think with that, because there's something she said in her email to me, and I reread it like 3 times. And there was one part that's picking it apart, picking it apart. And my rational was, let's just read it. Just read it. It doesn't have to be picked apart, just read it. And there's an aspect in there that said that she thought that I don't know what the wording it was, that my association with you was coming to an end. And that's how she felt like it was okay for her to talk to me about this. And I thought, well, that means that she's comfortable and wants my association with you to come to an end. And I thought I might be working with you for the next 10 or 20 years. Whether we're client or whatever, if I go and help with her thing and you show up once a year, we're still going to have interactions and conversations. And I still think your work needs to be published. And if I only go to Kate's thing once a quarter, and the bulk of my parts work is done, I'm gonna transcribe some of your stuff. I'm gonna put a book together for you, what you need to be published. And I told her that at the very start. And so if I want to say to her when we talk, how are you going to feel about if this man's in my life in the next 20 years? Are you okay with that? And maybe I'll only know you for 2. I don't know. However, this is going to play out.
Mhm.
But I just got the sense from the way it was worded that I think I think whether she's willing to admit it or not, I think she did want me to make a choice. And I sent her the link to your interview with Emma about the parts, the very first one that explains the first 2 layers. Because I told her, I said, you have parts as well. She was explaining to me how Alan told her that when she gets super anxious, well, that's a part, that she gets snarky in this way and that way and that way. And I thought, well, if she didn't quite get, because I couldn't fully explain it the way you do on this interview. And I thought, well, hopefully she'll watch that and realize, well, okay, your anxious part is pretty snarky and you're co-conscious with it. And maybe it didn't come from trauma, but we all have parts. And I told her that. I said, we all do. So you have the one that goes to work, the one that goes shopping, the one,
That's right.
they
That's right.
bounce around, that they're co-conscious with you. I said the difference is with people who have traumas is they've got stuff underneath that and underneath that. And then I thought, well, I want to send her the interview after that one that goes into the subconscious level because that's where she threw me. You know, she was anxious because whatever this controversy was threw her into her anxious part. And she's dealing with that for 6 or 8 weeks, finally needs to release it and tell me. And she sends me, bam, to, a -8 or a -10 anxiety level. And so I'm like, I'd like her to at least watch those two so that she can get an idea of what the happened. But I don't know if she's even willing to bother. So, but yeah, I read that. I guess I want to, maybe you can tell me if I'm looking at it the wrong way. I don't think so. But I was just like, there's some part of her that believes this controversy. She's not willing to admit it. She'll
Diana,
say
let me,
she's not going to talk about it publicly,
yeah.
but I'm
So,
like, well, personally, you think this.
so Diana, there may be, are you anticipating the two of you talking here in the not too distant future?
Yeah, yeah. She finally sent a text saying, well, I haven't got my email. Can you talk this week?
Okay,
And
and
Betty wants to know if you're going to be here in February.
she
I'm
handed
thrilled
them,
that you spent the time doing that. It's
she handed them
impactful.
all these lies, and
And
it's
I'm just
look at the
thing with
damage.
Melissa is just, I'm like, how can you not, and in her email, she writes back, well, how could I know to talk to any of John's clients? I don't know any of John's clients. I'm thinking, all you have to do is click on YouTube, see that he works as Brad Wilder, and Gillies, call and talk to them. She admitted that she reached out to Barbara Roberts. Melissa reached out to her. I said, why? Oh, well, because based on what Jimmy Hinton said. I said, and they're both credible because they're arm in arm with the LGBT community. I said, why didn't you look for other balancing information? Oh, I'm like, I'm just having such a hard time with this with her. I mean, I want to be friends. I think we had a good rapport. I think it was a little unbalanced maybe on her side, and that's because I allowed it to be that way because of my parts. I recognize that now, but I'm still bothered that she wouldn't put my opinion
Yeah.
above the opinion of strangers and people who are outright blatantly attacking you. And that's what just sticks in my craw the most is, wow. And you still are of the opinion that I shouldn't associate with John. She didn't say it outright like that, but I read it in the letter going, oh, well, I thought your association with him was about to end, so I thought I should warn you. I'm like, well, I'm thinking I might work with John for 50 years till the day I die. I don't know. How long did I work with Alan? When I started that, I didn't think it would be 20 years, but it was. I just, she's blind to this. I'm like, why?
Yeah, well, how she can't see that this is the most radical of LGBT, who threatened to firebomb my house, sent glitter
The
bombs.
glitter
This has been
bombs.
going on. This has been going on for the past 6 years.
I know. And for her to buy into it is just, I know Alan would not have bought into it. And if he was even interested enough to keep a friend, he would have looked at the whole thing. He would have dug and dug and dug. And
Yeah.
I just don't even know how to interact with her. I don't.
Well,
I'm like,
hopefully this will
yeah,
be
we can
enough.
be friends and I
Yeah.
can not say what I need to say, but that's what got me into trouble before and why I blew up at you.
Well, hopefully this can be a time of her kind of self-reflecting because she needs to understand. Well, really, this is Matthew chapter 5. It's the end of the Beatitudes. Blessed are those when you're persecuted. For what? For righteousness' sake. And then it
Exactly.
talks about being salt and light. So the question is, if none of us are being persecuted, are we really salt and light? And have we even gotten off first base? So if I can live a comfortable Christian life right? How many therapists never speak to anything? Everything would have been fine if I
Yeah.
had never taken to social media and addressed issues. But sorry, I mean, just in general, right? I'm going to unmask the trans movement. Once you do that. So for her to have been with Alan for so long to understand what he was doing,
And he
talk
was
about unmasking,
persecuted.
and to think that she can't discern that given the nature of the stupid publication, it's not hard to figure out, oh, these are LGBTQ radicals, and what's under it is the pedophile agenda.
And she
So the
knows that, and the whole
right, and so for her,
androgynous thing.
that's what's concerning ultimately for a lack of discernment.
Well,
Now,
and that's what is bothering me is how can you not see this
yeah. Now
for
my
what it
daughter didn't
is?
help, right? Because it really is surreal. I've never heard, except in scripture, David's son Absalom, where out of the blue, there's an attempted usurpation, well, overthrow of his father.
Yeah.
So I do have to admit that, and that's why I've cut people slack. It's like, if I heard somebody's daughter come out, and
Well,
it's
I
so
get that
small,
too, but
yeah,
I'm like, you're unmasking the trans site, which is the very thing that her other friend Neil and the Angry North people or group, whatever, were referencing was good. And so she knows it's there. She knows it exists. She knows that you work with Brad Wilder, if she even watched any of them. She knows that Dr. Aunt Gillies is on, again, if she watched any of them. So I'm thinking, yeah, your discernment is fucked up. And the fact that you not only would place my opinion, the person you consider your sister, your best friend in the world, because she's willing me all of her stuff if she dies. I'll get all of Alan Watt's stuff. Okay, you trust me this much, but you can't trust my opinion on Jon? You're going to trust the opinion of his disgruntled daughter for whatever reason, and that was my thing. I'm like, how? And then the second thing was the fact that she interviewed you and then put it out for the second one because, oh, people complained. I'm like, who cares if they complain? This is your show. You want to get across the point. And if these people can't handle learning about what a psychopath is, then you don't need them as listeners anyway, is my point of view. That's what I'm not taking comments. I will never interact with comments and on these channels because I don't want it to color or influence
mhm,
God's work through me. I want it to be a clear channel without all that outside chatter
that's right.
because the outside chatter is Satan's influence. And I'm like, why do you interact with this at all? And she said in her email that she wants to keep the connection alive. I'm thinking, but their connection wasn't even with Alan. It was with a voice in the ether teaching them. They weren't his friends or pals or buddies. And I'm like, let him die. Alan needs to die. She's just hanging on so hard to replace Alan and keep the connection alive. I'm like, they will never move on then. They will never find their purpose.
Mhm,
It's like I feel like her ego has been inserted in there to pretend to be Alan.
mhm,
And I'm like, no, you need to let him go. Let the websites go. If this legal business, whatever, let it go and create something new. You can put all Alan shit on there. He gave it away for free. And I've even been thinking about this when you talked about making a website. I thought I could put all his shit on my website,
right.
not out of competition, but just so it's there and they don't
Access.
have to go. Because if you
Mhm,
go to cuttingthroughthematrix.com, you've got to sort through a visually confusing website, number one, because of all the colors. And number two, you've got to go down 3 or 4 inches and read all this crap that Melissa is doing. I'm like, no, I want him just to go straight to Alan. I'm not going to introduce it. I'm not going to qualify it. I'm not going to try to explain it. Alan can speak for himself. And that's what Melissa's trying to do, is try to keep him alive through her own self. And I'm like, no, it's impossible. It's just impossible. That's like trying to speak for Jesus. You know what I mean? It ain't gonna happen. And I feel kind of sorry for her that her whole life is about Alan Watt. And I get it. She was in love with them. Like, the guy Ron Wyatt, with the biblical stuff. His wife has a website for him. She's carrying on his legacy, but she doesn't go on there and try to be him. She just says, like, his business partner is still doing stuff, so he's going to give you a little hour-long talk. And I've watched a few of them, and neither one of them tried to replace Ron. They're just saying, we just want the information to go forward. My ego is out of it. But with Melissa, that's not the case. If she doesn't have someone to interview for her show, she'll tell you what her week was. Like, I don't give a fuck what you did this week. I'm here to listen to Alan's listeners in Brazil tell me what's going on in Brazil. Or, it's just, I don't know. It's like I want to say all these things to her, but it will hurt her feelings. And I don't know how to say it gently or kindly, or if I should say it at all. I probably won't say it at all because she needs to learn it for herself. I'm like, you've got to let Alan go.
And if she's going to be effective, if she's not being inundated and targeted, she's not being effective. That's, I think, if she is nervous from having people say things about her, then she's in the wrong business. She's not
Well,
following.
no, she's not nervous about people saying things about her. She's nervous about the fact that just having you on her show, she had to answer for it. I'm like, why?
So that's
You thought he was important. You felt guided to do it. The synchronicities lined up. It was an important topic. If people are going to piss and moan about it, why do you care? That was your purpose that God gave you. Let them drop off your line. I mean, yeah, I get that her living, not that she makes a great living, but it's off of that website. I don't know how she would live otherwise other than to get a regular job. I mean, she used to be an editor for writers. I'm sure she could get some sort of editing job, but she doesn't want it. She wants to propagate Alan's work, and I think that's a great cause, but I don't know. Sorry.
No, that's good. It's a huge concern. You guys were friends, and
Yeah, and I love the fact that we have that like psychic connection, but I can do without I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. I feel like I've moved beyond her. As to where before I thought she was that because she lived with Alan and she knows so much. But I'm realizing no, she's not moving on. She's stuck in trying to keep Alan, be Alan, great, propagate his work, but I don't need to know what your week was like. After our conflict and we talked, she did a real history. She didn't have anybody to interview. And she's talking about how, oh, I had this situation happen and I won't get into it, but let's just call it lost time. And she'll mention this lost time 5 or 6 times throughout the video. And I'm like, really, Melissa? That's what an SRA survivor tells you their first symptom is they have lost time. I proposed that to you, that maybe you had some lost time. Do you remember saying this? And so she uses this very phrase And it wasn't, she has a way of talking that she can say something that's a jab, but it sounds sweet as saccharin. And I'm like,
Very passive aggressive.
yeah, I guess that's the word. I was like going, why would you choose to use that word not just once, not twice, but like 8 times?
That was passive aggressive.
And I'm like asking myself, do
And
I
there's only one
really?
person that's going to understand what that means. So,
What do you mean? Oh, me, exactly. She was saying it to me. And I told myself, why am I watching this? I give it what her week was like. I was there, I lived it, but I watched it anyway. And it just was like, it just kind of stuck in my craw. I'm like, why are you doing that?
yeah,
It's like you want to push my button. Everything I said in that letter. But,
little vindictive on her part.
and then for her to, get on the phone with me and, oh, well, no, that was just my public stance, not my I'm like, but it was personal digs, Melissa. I don't know. She just doesn't see it. And I'm like, it's not my job to show you. I mean, anyway, I'm sorry. I don't know if you got a client coming up or what. Thank you for showing me that though.
Okay, well, I'm glad it was helpful. I
I
didn't
I
know
think it's gonna blow those people out of the water. I really do.
that's just that's the mild stuff. Well, I've got stuff that's very
Yeah.
hard.
And just again, the fact that she wasn't willing to wait for your response, couldn't be bothered, didn't give. I'm like, really? You can't even you won't listen to my opinion. You won't find people that are colleagues of John's, not enemies, and you won't listen to his response. It just seems very close-minded and biased. And like, again, back to my letter, like you just want me to be your lackey. Oh, well, that just hurt me so badly. How could you ever think I would want that? Ah. It's just I'm noticing these different parts, and I'm like, well, it's no wonder you're struggling in life. You don't even acknowledge. Oh, and here is the biggest thing, and this was just months and months and months ago before any of this came up, even before I think I met you. She said, I said to her, I don't even remember what was going on. I said, well, you know what Alan always said, that we're supposed to work on ourselves first before anything and everything. Work on ourselves first and then go from there. And you know what her response was? And I was saying this to her, work on yourself first. She says, oh, not for us, meaning her and Alan, not for us.
Oh,
And I just went,
wow.
really? I
Mhm.
think Alan would urge that the most.
Yeah.
And I said, I think Alan probably spent 50 or 60 years of his life working on himself. And that's why he was able to get where he was.
Mhm.
But she said, oh, not for us. I was like, who the fuck are
The
you that
elitist.
you don't have any issues? I was mind blown by that. But again, I just thought it's her path for her to figure out. And I think she was most afraid of being abandoned by me more than, at least I was willing to dive in and say, okay, these are my issues. This is my shit, and I'm sorry. But I really don't feel like I got that in return. I'm crying right now. I'm so upset. Well, okay. Well, I was pretty upset too. I don't need you to tell me. It was, I don't know, it's just a little manipulative.
Well, let me pray.
Yeah, thank you
That,
for listening
oh,
as always.
thank you for watching that. It's just it's unfortunate that uh,
You must be just heartbroken. I mean, your daughter,
you saw my relationship with her, but she was
yeah,
like,
your baby girl to
yeah,
just, I'm so sorry.
yeah. So,
It
Satan's pretty
is what it
smart.
is, huh?
It is what it is, right? You just learn. But at least I've got a relationship with Reed.
Yeah, yeah, good.
So, well, let me pray.
Okay.
Lord, thank you. Thank you that Diana and I can work together still and talk and even address this stuff. So Lord, we do pray for Melissa, that whatever issues are causing her to be reactive, to be unsettled, Lord, you help open her eyes to that. Draw her to yourself so she can have a sense of peace on the inside. Or continue to use Diana, both in the lives of those that are listening and watching. Continue to give her strength, give her wisdom as she puts these different videos together. Or thank you for preserving Diana through hell, literal hell and back. So continue to guard her, garrison her mind, as well as Chris. Or keep your hand upon them, your protective hand. Round and round, what color